Y'all, I think this team is really likable. If you haven't watched Hawks hockey since the dynasty years, I think this is a good team to refamiliarize with yourself with the Chicago Blackhawks because hey, they're playing pretty well right now, guys. This is a fun team. Hey there, how you doing? Let's recap the third week of Hawks hockey this season. Played 3 games, went 2-1, but hey, those 2 wins were pretty nice, man. Gotta love what I'm seeing out of this Hawks team. I ain't gonna waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's start our journey on Thursday at Tampa Bay. Man, the Lightning have been a team that the Hawks have just not played well against for a long time. Pretty much ever since they beat them in the 2015 Cup final, they played pretty poorly against the Lightning. Or at least that's my perception of it. And I think it's also pretty true. And what's even more true and further accentuates that statement is the fact that coming into this game, Andrei Vasilevsky is undefeated in the regular season against the Chicago Blackhawks. He has a loss against the Hawks in the 2015 Cup final, but in the regular season, Andrei Vasilevsky has never lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. Until this game, because the Hawks finally found a way to beat Andrei Vasilevsky in the regular season. It took a lot of work, took a lot of effort, but they were able to get it done. And it started with Frank Nazar on the power play. Tyler Bertuzzi just sitting down on the goal line looking for that pass. Finds a great lane, and he's just sitting in the middle of that power play formation. Bang, right by Vasilevsky. 1-0 Hawks at the end of the first. About 7 minutes into the second period would be where the Lightning would tie it up and beat Spencer Knight on a tip-in from Jake Gensel on an initial shot from Ryan McDonough. But the Hawks would go right back up a couple minutes later. Ryan Donato coming in on what looked to be a 2-on-1, but Connor Bedard was interfered with. It was going to be a penalty against the Lightning, but Donato says, screw the power play, I'm scoring right now, and he snipes it past Andrei Vasilevsky. He's proving that this deal right now is a good one because he had a career year last year. This is a shot that warrants that extension because that was a nice one to score. 2-1 Hawks. Then towards the end of the period, it would be Nikita Kucherov who picked up his 999th all-time point by way of a beautiful pass to Ryan McDonough cross ice. And he puts it by Spencer Knight. So we go into second intermission, tied up at 2, setting up a very tense third period, I'm not going to lie. There were plenty of chances in the third period for both teams because the Lightning would take a double minor nearly after killing a penalty in the first place because they drew blood on Bedard's lip around here. They drew blood, which that's the key to upgrading a minor into a double minor. So that's unfortunate for Tampa Bay because it gave the Blackhawks about 40 seconds of a 5-on-3, which they didn't score. And on top of that, you still had to kill another 3.5 minutes of penalty time, which they did. Not necessarily the best work power play wise from both teams. The Lightning didn't score on the power play. The Hawks had the Nazar goal in the first period and were held scoreless on power play opportunities for the rest of the game. So despite these two teams being very highly penalized this season so far, neither team were able to really take advantage of it. As the Lightning did get a power play shortly after killing off that double minor, they would go on the power play. They wouldn't be able to score. And it looked like this game was headed to overtime because neither team could score. They were given power play opportunities, couldn't find a way to beat Spencer Knight or Andrei Vasilevsky. They were standing tall until the final minute. And I got to tell you, this play is so satisfying to go back and watch. Teuvo Teravainen with a beautiful poke to get it out of the hands of Nikita Kucherov with pretty much exactly 60 seconds to go. He takes possession at the blue line, and it's just a perfect saucer pass right to the stick in stride for Frank Nazar, who breaks in, fires a long shot to Vasilevsky, who's playing pretty deep out of the crease. And he gives up a juicy rebound to Ryan Donato, who pots it to put Chicago up 3-2 with about 50 seconds to play, and they kill off the rest of the clock after a couple of face-offs that took forever to get through. Hawks win. Hawks beat Vasilevsky. He surrenders a goal with under a minute to go in regulation. The Hawks win on the road in Tampa. That's a huge win against a playoff team last year. I know Tampa has had a bad start to this season, but regardless, that's a team that made the playoffs last year. Teams get off to bad starts all the time and still rally, and vice versa. But this was a huge win for the Hawks to go on the road to Tampa Bay, a place where they have struggled mightily over the last decade, really. And pick up a huge win is awesome to see. After that game, they were 4-0-1 in their last 5 contests, which I gotta say makes me feel real nicey inside. Unfortunately, the Hawks would follow this performance up with arguably their worst performance of the season, which is unfortunate, but hey, that's their first multi-goal loss of the year. They have been keeping games close all year. They really haven't gotten blown out, so you know what? This is fine so far, but hey, you're going to lose games. It's your only game at home against the Kings, which does stink that you dropped this one, but you'll get 2 shots against the Kings on the road later this season. The thing is, the Hawks went up early on a Connor Bedard tip-in. It was a bit of a weird goal to let up, but Hawks go up 1-0, and they falter in the second period. It's 2 goals that they let up. Arvid Soderblom in net for Chicago. Anton Forsberg in net for LA. I'm honestly surprised that this team didn't beat Forsberg more. They only had 22 shots. So that might be it right there. Got to get more pucks to the net, obviously. But Soderblom cannot let those 2 in. Those 2 are pretty, especially that second one. First one, all right, stuff happens, but the second one, I really hate when goalies let in wraparound goals because they're such a low percentage shot. Because the goaltenders are usually so good at stopping them, and they just he couldn't do it this time. Alex Laferriere on a 2-on-1 decides to shoot instead of pass. It beats Soderblom clean. Great. And then shortly after, it's Kevin Fiala who gets ahead of the defense, but not a clear breakaway. He's chased by both Murphy and Kaiser. They force him to actually go around Soderblom. He doesn't really get a shot off. He tried to make a move and then tuck it in or whatever. But then he sticks with it. They can't work him off the puck, and he just has a wraparound opportunity. I mean, it was a solo effort from Kevin Fiala. I mean, I don't know how they didn't stop him. That one was frustrating, and now you're sitting for the rest of the game down 1 goal. Hawks can't tie it, and it's an easy tap-in for Joel Armia for that empty netter, and the Hawks lose, the Kings win 3-1. Look, teams have those types of games. It sucks. Happens to all teams throughout a season. The problem is the Hawks have had those games happen to them more than other teams throughout the last couple seasons. You hope that this is a rare occasion this year. Maybe they drop 1 or 2 more of these types of games where it's backup versus backup, and the Hawks end up playing like the worst team. Your backup goalie lets in a couple softies, and you can't let, and the other team's backup plays very well. You hope that you don't get goalied a little bit, but then again, the Hawks need to put more shots on net against the backup goaltender as well. That's also it. I mean, that's the bottom line. And then we get to the Frozen Frenzy, which I need to vent about this for a second. This is like the 3rd or 4th year, if I'm not mistaken, that we're doing the Frozen Frenzy. Why are we still doing it on a random Tuesday in October? I know that it's ESPN's day to broadcast the NHL, and they cover the Frozen Frenzy with that whip-around coverage, which is cool. But why on a Tuesday? You are directly competing with 3 other leagues in the United States of America. I know it's not really stiff competition in Canada, but you're competing with so many other leagues in the U.S. You're competing with the NFL. Even though they aren't playing any games on Tuesdays, you're still competing with them because everyone's still talking about it. You're competing with college football because same deal. Football runs this country. Like that is the sport in America. Then you've got basketball. The NBA just started. So fan interest is really high for that sport right now for another week or two before you kind of get that early to mid-season slump that all leagues get. And the World Series is going on right now. You will broadcast it and cover the Frozen Frenzy the same day as Game 4 of the World Series. It's a random Tuesday in October. You got to find a way to either do it on the weekend and make it a special event, or do it later in the season. Because, man, you are competing with too many different things right now that you're never going to get a good draw on this thing. If you want to move it earlier, you move it way early in the season when you've got all the fan interest. Because guess what? The season just started. Hopes are high. Everyone's excited to see their team play hockey again. But, man, this is rough. This is really rough. Because I don't know. I just don't know why we're doing it on this day. I'd like to see it in late February when you come back from the All-Star break, or in March at some point when the playoff push is on, because guess what? You can get some really compelling games, and everyone's playing on the same day, so it's constant talk about the playoff picture. Everyone's talking about maybe let's see if this team who isn't in the playoff picture can pull off an upset that would really hurt X team's chances at getting into the playoffs. Where, like, I think there'd be a lot more manufactured. That's the wrong word, absolutely the wrong word, but there'd be a lot more natural storylines with just the fact that it's later in the season and there are more playoff implications with the whole thing. So that's just the way I feel about it. And I know a lot of people also feel that way. The Frozen Frenzy is an awesome idea. And who knows, maybe you could do two of them. One of them now, early in the season, so that everyone can be excited to watch it regardless if your team's good or not. And then one in like February or March so that everyone is tuning in to watch the playoff race. I don't know. This is just, I think you got to change it up after this year. I think you got to change it up. I'm really not happy about it being on a random Tuesday in October. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, let's talk about the Hawks game on the Frozen Frenzy. They drew the Ottawa Senators, a playoff team last year. And it feels like this team is starting to gain some momentum going forward into this season and possibly the next couple seasons to try and make a couple playoff pushes. The Hawks just shut them down. This was a great game, though it got a little bit scary. Both starters in net, Spencer Knight versus Linus Ullmark, and the Hawks strike first. It's Colton Dach getting a perfect rebound off a shot from Louis Crevier, able to buy himself enough time to get to his forehand before the defenders get there, shoot it by Linus Ullmark, and put the Hawks up 1-0. Nick Foligno dished the pass to Crevier, who shot it, and it was Dach that scored. So a secondary assist for Nick Foligno, his 600th NHL point. Congrats to the captain for 600 NHL points. That is an awesome milestone. About 5 minutes later, it's Alex Vlasic into the offensive zone, finds a feed to Jason Dickinson, and the shot gets deflected wide, rolls around the boards, and coming to meet the puck is Louis Crevier. He just throws it towards the net as if he's probably looking for a tip or some other bounce with the bodies in front. He just beats Linus Ullmark. It's just a nice shot. It just goes right in. Louis Crevier with his second of the year. Like, that's the thing. Crevier, I really don't hear his name a lot. Throughout games, you can tell he's not like one of the best defenders on the team, but every now and then he finds a way to just have a sick, ridiculous shot that just has the puck as like the seeing eye and just finds its way in between everyone in the back of the net. It's weird, but that was a really nice shot. I would expect that Crevier was looking for a tip on that shot, but didn't need it. It was just a good shot. 2-0 Hawks. And then as the period winds down, the Hawks go on to the power play. And right off the face-off, Andre Burakovsky finds a beautiful pass to Connor Bedard, who, oh my God, what a snipe! What a snipe! Connor Bedard on the power play. Hawks go up 3-0. Look at this shot. Look at it. It's unbelievable. The window he was able to fit it into. That superstar type of stuff. Gotta love to see that shot. Holy shnikey. Oh, that was pretty. beautiful. The right amount of sauce to get it into that top right corner. Ooh, that's got me feeling nicey. But oh my friend, it gets even better. How could it get better than some nice top cheddar? Oh man, you're missing one of the best goals Bedard's ever scored. Maybe the best goal Connor Bedard has scored in his young NHL career. Coast to coast, he grabs this puck around the face-off circles in his own zone about 3 minutes into the second period. He just skates it right up the middle of the ice. There's 4 Senator defenders surrounding him, trying to box him in. He just rips it by Linus Ullmark. And I'm just sitting there with my jaw open. Are you kidding me? What an unbelievable play from Connor Bedard. Instantly, and I mean instantly, one-upping the goal he had in the first. Oh, that was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen someone do something like that for the Chicago Blackhawks in a while. Just coast to coast solo effort. Man, that was some beautiful stuff from Connor Bedard. And that's his 50th NHL goal, which is also pretty sweet. But things would turn south pretty much immediately after this. A couple minutes later, it's a shot that hits the boards and goes in behind Spencer Knight after he basically hits it in. So Jake Sanderson breaks the shutout, and we're like, okay, they got one. It's a bit of a lucky shot. All right, fine. And then they get another. Michael Amadio just does whatever he wants. He picks up the puck and just skates right in front of the net. Like, he picks it up from behind the net and just does what he wants. He just is able to skate into a shooting lane, turns around to his dominant side, and just roofs it. And it's 4-2. And then you see a third goal go in after Wyatt Kaiser gets stripped of the puck by Tim Stützle, who is just all alone because Kaiser was in the wrong spot and had it pickpocketed. And in the 2-on-1, Stützle just rips it by Spencer Knight, and oh my gosh, out of nowhere, it's 4-3. And then you're like, oh no. Are we about to blow a 4-goal lead in one period? I swear. They didn't. It was 4-3 going into the third period, but now you're not feeling so nice about this right now. You're like, guys, you were up 4-0. How is this a game going into the third? But have no fear out there, folks, because Connor Bedard is here to save the day and pick up his first career hat trick right off the faceoff. A clean draw win, and he snipes it by Ullmark. Another really pretty shot, and the Hawks go up 2. They lead 5-3. All 3 Connor Bedard goals in this game were just chef's kiss, unreal. Gotta love to see it, because man, he is on a heater right now. So the Hawks have some breathing room. It's 5-3. You're feeling a little bit better. All right, they got an insurance goal, and I got to see the young superstar pick up his first career hat trick. And then it was about 5 minutes later when the Hawks really put any hopes of a comeback for the Senators away, because Andre Burakovsky comes into the offensive zone, hands off to Connor Bedard, who nearly got his 4th of the game, and then it's a juicy rebound off of Linus Ullmark to the stick of Ryan Donato, who puts it in off the bar and in, and the Hawks go up 6-3. Donato gets his 6th of the season, and that's where you're like, all right, I think they're holding on here. The Senators then decide to panic, pull their goalie with 7 minutes left. I know they were on a power play, trying to get a 2-man advantage down 3 goals, but whoo boy, that's a bit of a decision this early in the season to pull your goaltender with like 7 minutes left. And what do you know? On said power play, the Hawks are able to steal it. Frank Nazar gets ahead. He gets tripped up and draws a penalty. Doesn't matter because he puts it in the empty net. And the Hawks would win this one 7-3. Oh, I got a little nervous there for a second, but they finished strong and squash any hopes of a comeback for the Senators. And we get to see Connor Bedard score a hat trick. That's pretty cool. Man, I'm really happy with how this team responded after it getting a little scary there You're only up 1 goal after you go up 4-0 going into the third period, and you're wondering whether or not they're going to hang on. And not only do they hang on, but they actually return the favor and score 3 in a row to reach the final score of 7-3. So still a plus 4 goal margin anyways. And I gotta love what I see from Connor Bedard, man. 4 goals and 1 assist through this week. Had the 4-point game against Ottawa. Had the only goal against the Kings. I'm really happy with how he's playing. Frank Nazar as well, playing well. While he only found the net twice in this week, which one of them being an empty netter, it's still, his presence is felt. And I think that's the most important part. And he also, Nazar and Bedard are tied for team lead in points right now. I'm really, really excited to see what this duo, I really do feel like that is going to be the duo going forward. Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar. Man, those two are electric together. How about Ryan Donato? He's got 3 goals this week, which included 2 against Tampa, including that game winner. Man, Ryan Donato, I don't think he's missed a beat. I was a little nervous with the signing of the extension. I was like, look, he had a career year. He scored 30 goals last season. Why would you want to give him away? Because I feel like a lot of people had a suspicion that there would be some regression. It was a career year for Ryan Donato, a guy who has never been a true bona fide goal scorer in this league. He's been around for a while. He's been more of like a 4th-liner, 3rd-liner depth piece type of guy. But he's really blossoming into an offensive guy and a core piece of this Hawks team. And I think his start this year is proving that the extension was a good decision for this organization. And I'm very happy to see that he's playing well so far this season. Last thing I'll touch upon before we get out of here, Lukas Reichel. After the game against Tampa Bay, he was shipped off to Vancouver in exchange for a 4th-round pick this upcoming season. Lukas Reichel is a guy who I thought could potentially be a good young piece for this team, and he was an aspiring youth member on the squad for a couple of years. But it didn't feel like he was really going to take that next step and be a true top 6 guy. So while I do like the youth that he brought to this team for however many years he was here, I feel like with where the direction this squad is heading, I don't hate the move. 2 goals, 1 assist for Reichel this season in a Hawks uniform. Thank you for your service. Good luck in Vancouver. And so looking forward to next week, the Hawks will begin a 2-week road trip in the Pacific Northwest. But first, they must stop at True North in Winnipeg, Manitoba. They're playing the Winnipeg Jets, which means they're going to be playing Jonathan Toews. It'll be the first time that Captain Sirius plays against the Chicago Blackhawks in his career. There are going to be a lot of emotions in this game, but it will not be as much as what we're going to see January 19th when Winnipeg comes to play at the United Center. You know there's going to be some sort of tribute for Jonathan Toews in his first game as an opponent in the United Center. But, you know, that's just how it is, and it's gonna be hard to watch this team play against Jonathan Toews, but we'll get through it. It's been a couple of years since he was not re-signed by the Blackhawks, and he's, of course, taken a couple years off to improve his condition, which I'm honestly just impressed he's playing hockey again, and I wish Jonathan the best of luck in Winnipeg this year. But after that, they'll really make their trip to the Pacific Northwest. They'll begin in Edmonton 2 days after their game against the Jets and wrap it up on Monday against the Seattle Kraken, at least for the first week of this trip. After that trip to Seattle, they'll finish up the tour of the Pacific Northwest with games against Vancouver and Calgary before wrapping up the 6-game road trip in Detroit against the Red Wings. Their next home game will be November 12th against the New Jersey Devils. So their game against Ottawa was their last home game for about 2 weeks. So it's going to be quite a bit until we see the Hawks back in the home Reds. I just pointed it onto the road whites. I don't know why I did it, but you get my point. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Hawks go 2-1 through this week with a huge win at Tampa Bay and a big-time win during the Frozen Frenzy against the Ottawa Senators. That made me feel real good inside. Got to see Bedard pick up his first career hat trick. Hit like on the video if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you really enjoyed it. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about Connor Bedard picking up his first career hat trick or any other news for the Chicago Blackhawks in the last week. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care.